Today, ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk himself predicting the next recession coming mid to the end of summer this year. Pretty bold statements we're going to be breaking down, talking about what might even cause that recession. But first and foremost, the Tesla stock price, going to the moon, baby, and to Mars and beyond. This is kind of nuts to think about here, just off some delivery numbers, considering analysts expected to have them deliver in the last quarter somewhere between 260 to 270,000 vehicles, and they came out with a 308,000 car delivery, which usually hits the bottom line a lot better when those earnings drops. Unless there's margin problems, I can't foresee what's going to bring this stock down anyways in the near term. But taking a look, guys, in the clarity of my transparency, just showing you my personal accounts here where I hold my Tesla stock. And if you appreciate that, consider hitting that like button. As I bought my shares back in this account, picked up my 21 shares, doing very well here, very happy with this position. No plans to sell it. I know I kind of toy around with the idea, but currently up 10,300 USD is a return of 72% since I bought them back. Beautiful, beautiful stuff with the average volume just crushing it right now. And I wanted to point that out because it's hard to imagine that in the $1 trillion market cap game that for this company to be trading up 10% today, folks. In order to achieve that, we're talking about $100 billion added to that bottom line, which, to put that in perspective, imagine any microcap could add $100 billion in a single day is kind of absurd to think about. This price has been stuck between this 1160 and 1170 range, but it is holding pretty solid. So we need to see if it holds into the end of today. But loving the stock here, guys. Let me know if you're holding Tesla. Let me know if you picked up on those last dips. Congrats if you did. Doing very well to start the year. At least Tesla's given us some good green here to kick it off. But let's talk about this little tweet that Elon posted coming off of a Christopher Mims tweet here, where he said there are 936 startups valued at more than $1 billion in the world today. Well, what do you think this chart will look like in, say, 5 years? Now, I don't know about small caps, but if there's two places where I'm absolutely certain there are bubbles in the market, that is the EV industry. And yes, that could even put Tesla into that basket. And that is also the crypto market. I largely believe 99% of cryptos, NFTs, are going to become extinct, and people are going to get burned in ways they can't imagine. Cryptos that are projects that have no real basis in reality yet are trading for the $30 billion, anywhere from $20 to $30 billion. And it doesn't really surprise me if that would bleed over into some of these small caps, which got devastated, absolutely devastated in the second half of last year. And I don't know, some of those small caps have good value to them. Maybe a large amount don't, considering, they're worth it. Probably the best time in history to do a startup. I mean, you can easily put money in your pocket with an idea. But anyways, Elon replied to this saying, in history, if history is any guide, not many will make it past the next recession. And I want to remind you that a recession here, guys, is 2 quarters of negative GDP growth, which usually is a pullback in spending, which we're going to talk more about. But somebody did ask him, he says, Zach replied saying, when do you think the next recession will be? And this is where Elon came up with a bold statement, because predicting recessions is damn near impossible, or depressions, and all you can kind of do is cost average into the market, because you're more likely to lose more money trying to predict it than just having money in the market at all times. But predicting macroeconomics is challenging, Elon says, to say the least. But my gut feel is maybe around spring or summer of 2022, but not later than 2023. So he's kind of giving it between the spring and fall period of this year. And the reason that I think he is saying this is because there are a handful of things that are definitely going to lead to some interesting volatility in the markets. We're talking about interest rates going up for the first time. Government's probably going to stop doing helicopter money, so that money that's just flying over the economy might retract in the spending. And on top of that, if the logistics problems get a little bit more sorted, even though we're seeing some pandemic raises going on, which we'll talk about in a sec. If those logistics problems get worked out, people keep forgetting, and I work with a lot of pharmaceutical companies, a lot of companies through different sectors, and all of them have been loading supplies. Chips they've been loading, which is why there's still shortages. I talked to a pharmaceutical company that told me that when it comes to syringes, they've been loading up on them like 8 to 12 months worth of supply. So if logistics work themselves out, but everybody's loaded up heavy on supplies, that means there'll be a grace period where there'll probably be less spending, which means a lot of volume's going to dry up, and you're going to start seeing prices come down in different commodities and different aspects of the market. On top of that, guys, I still think you're in a good mode, that if you learned from the crash of March of 2020, that looks like we're heading into this kind of second period that'll be very similar, which means we're probably going to see some better performance at your Cloroxes of the world, your pandemic plays. I think this bodes well for your big tech companies, your Apples, your Microsofts, your gaming stocks, your Facebook, and your social media advertising, as people continue to scale their home businesses and work from home. But yeah, this is some scary stuff going on here, guys. The government in Canada just came out this morning. We watched the Toronto mayor there go off about, basically we are all going to get sick. He said that there is no stopping this anymore. It's just a matter of slowing it down. So Canada is back on lockdown, making it very concerning for my Vegas trip coming up at the end of this month. I don't know. We're just going to sit on our hands for the next 2 weeks and see what happens. But that's the U.S. I mean, look at these numbers, guys. Canada is just exploding. U.S. just exploding. So yes, interesting times we live in on that front. For my personal prediction, guys, I don't know when a recession comes. I don't know what's going to happen. I think things are largely overvalued in many sectors. Real estate's nutty. Things need to cool off a little bit, which just reminds me to tell you, make sure you are choosing the right companies to hold in your portfolio. And we're going to be discussing that in my next video. I will be posting today, so consider subscribing as I topped up my tax advantaged accounts. I bought 3 stocks we're going to be reviewing. So in light of this, what do you guys think about Elon's tweet? It's really interesting when, billionaires start predicting markets, because he's either going to be proven right or proven wrong. But largely, Tesla's done very well through this logistics nightmare and continue to grow at an absurd rate. So hopefully they continue to do well, and that reflects into the stock price. But earnings can only truly tell, and those will be coming up shortly. So stay cool, stay awesome, and I look forward to catching you in the next one.